Welcome in, welcome in. Good evening, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right, we do have a rather large group this evening, so we are going to give everyone a little bit of time to pile right on in, get comfortable, get your note takers. We have a lot of content and good things to share with you all this evening on building your brand concept and marketing. So give us a few minutes. We'll probably start in about another 2 minutes. Welcome in. And while you all are piling in and coming in the room, why don't you go ahead and in the chat, introduce yourself, your name, your business, where are you located? Your name, your business, and where is your business located in the chat. I see your question, Neosha. The webinar is 1 hour. They allot for the 2 hour slot just in case we are fully engaged and we need to keep the conversation going, but we should wrap within an hour. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. It is 5:32, and I want to be mindful of everyone's time on this evening. So welcome everyone to Simple Steps, Session 2 for starting your business, brand concept, and marketing. My name is Kiana Grant. I am a certified SCORE mentor here in the Charlotte region. I have been a part of SCORE and a mentor since 2023, I think. April 2023, coming up on 3 years this year. I have the privilege of supporting our webinars and also our outreach in the Charlotte and surrounding areas. And then tonight we are going to have our great content speaker, David Kirkpatrick, excuse me, David, presenting tonight. So David, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, welcome everybody. I am painfully aware that I am between you and a happy hour. So we are going to keep this to an hour, I can assure you. But I really appreciate your taking the time out. It's very important that we get prepared. It's kind of like scouting. If anybody was a Girl Scout or Boy Scout, the motto is always be prepared. And I think that's what we need to think about also going into owning our own business. What are we going to do before we get started? This quick overview about what we're going to discuss this evening is the research that you need to do in order to make sure that your idea becomes a business, that process. But we need to have some background on that. The other thing is knowledge about the market, thinking in terms of competition. That is really critical for us to touch on. And then finally, marketing foundation. Are we going to come up with a business plan in order to do that? So those are the three things that we're going to be focusing on this evening. As a quick introduction for myself, as far as SCORE is concerned, it goes way back. I actually was a client for SCORE. I had two two mentors to help me in my business years ago. And I promised them that if I ever got a chance to retire, I would become a SCORE mentor and now a trainer for SCORE here in Charlotte. So I share that from with you in the fact that I feel like I know what you're going through because I've been through it myself. And what had happened as far as my entrepreneurship, my family purchased a telephone company, business telephone company in Alabama, and they made me president. Folks, that's how it works. They buy the company. I became the president. I got the corner office, the BMW outside. Oh, it was great. Well, it was not that easy because think in terms of my competition. We were a little company in Alabama. And who's our competition? Bell South, AT&T. I guess you've heard of them before. And then there's us. And it was up to me to determine how on earth is this little bitty family company focusing on business systems in Alabama, how are we going to compete? Just real briefly, we brainstormed on it when we got the company. We focused on customer service, of which the big boys really couldn't do, in the sense that our technicians, when they went on site, they were assigned to a particular customer. So when they showed up, they had experience with that particular technician. And in most cases, they got the same one every time they called. The other thing that I'm really proud of, and this is commonplace today, teamwear. When my technicians showed up, they had the logo on they had their name over here. They looked like they came from CNC. And so we were looking at ways in which we could differentiate ourselves in that market against much larger competition. And I was very proud of the process that we made. So I've been an entrepreneur, and I feel that I know what you're going through. And I'm so glad that you're taking time out today to have some time with us, to share with us and other people that are on the webinar. Kiana, is there anything else you want to mention about the introductions from our participants?
Um, no, I added in the chat also too. If you want to add your social media handles to make some new connections, definitely do that as well. But we'll proceed right on along.
Okay, so let's go to slide 3 and give you a little information about SCORE. The thing that always impressed me once upon a time when I got a chance to be a client is the caliber of help. I had two mentors. I guess they felt like I really needed some help. I had two mentors to work with me. And it was an amazing experience because they were top executives in their field, and they were able to help me significantly to see beyond what I was facing. In those days, and maybe you felt like this, but you get so bogged in to the everyday trying to make things work. And it takes a mentor to kind of help you see the big picture. And these guys live the big picture. So that was extremely helpful to me. The mentoring that they did was one-to-one. And it was a great process of learning for me. And actually, they seemed to enjoy it too, which made me feel good. The thing that is amazing about SCORE these days, since COVID came along, remember those days? We've had to sort of reinvent ourselves at SCORE. When it comes to training, we have training like this. We don't have classrooms anymore. It's all virtual. But there's an enormous amount of educational programs that are available to you that I would like for you to take advantage of it. I mean, as an entrepreneur, having resources for continuing education is hard to come by. But by using SCORE, using all the different programs that we offer, and in many cases it's a webinar, so you can do it on your own time, could be very helpful to you. And then the other thing about SCORE is that from time to time we have networking events where you can get together with other entrepreneurs in your market. So these things about SCORE, I think, are very, very helpful. And it certainly helped me when I was a client, and I wanted to highlight those for you. Number 4. So this is a list of all the chapters in North Carolina. Of course, Charlotte's the largest one, so thank you very much. But we have a lot of other throughout the state. And I think the one thing I wanted you to take a note of is www.score.org takes us to our website and has enormous amount of information. If you can put in your zip code, it'll bring up the chapter that's closest to you. So this is kind of your window into SCORE to help you go forward. Next slide, number 5. So this is the roadmap that I wanted to share with you. This is kind of like, the big picture, if you will. In so many times in business, and I'll say the same thing, you're looking for ways to be unique. You're looking for ways to be one of a kind. You want to be the ones that stand out. But the reality is that there's certain basics, regardless of the business, that you have to be able to achieve. Therefore, having a roadmap, if you will, a process of understanding will help significantly. I've often said about a process, a proven process gets predictable results every time. Proven process gets predictable results. These are the predictable results that I share with you at this point in time. One-on-one mentoring is really kind of the key to what we offer. I would encourage you to do that. Let me put it to you another way. I don't know if you've had this situation as you're building your business. Have you ever gotten to the point where everybody's tired of talking to you, listening to you? Has that happened to you? It happened to me. Friends, family. Oh, no. We don't need to talk about that anymore. You basically need somebody to talk to. And that's what a mentor does. It's kind of like a sounding board, if you will, to give you an opportunity to get in touch with them on a regular basis or by phone, to share what you're going through at that time. It is extremely helpful. It was to me, and I share that with you. Take advantage of a mentor. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is that with the website that we have, you can contact there and they will put you in touch with a mentor. And what happens is that when you put in a request for a mentor, what happens is that we have a group of people that pair up the requests to the mentors that we have, of which we've got about 50, 60 mentors, looking at what their backgrounds are, what their value is, how we could be of most help to that particular client. That's the process that we go through in order to be most helpful to you. It's one-on-one. Now, there's 3 sessions to this program. Session 1 is the basics. We've done that for several years since COVID. If you have not had step 1, I would encourage you to go back to that when it's available the next time, just like this in a webinar, and get the basics. The second step is what we're doing this evening on brand concepts and marketing, how we can take our idea and take it to the market to be successful. And then finally, the third session, and that'll be coming up shortly, will be the financial matters and the funding, which is really critical when you think in terms of, I don't know about you, but I didn't have a whole lot of money to do what I was doing. So your relationship with the funding, the banks, the financial institutions is absolutely critical for your success going forward. So we're touching on all three of these in this particular module going forward. So be on the lookout for session 3. It'll be coming up. And if you had to miss session 1, I would encourage you to review that. Well, what's the key thing for this evening? It is to help you determine, is this a go or no go for your business? This is really critical because we're asking you and you're asking of yourself for complete commitment in order to make this business work. It's got to be 100%. But after going through this process of evaluation and research, am I ready to go? Is now the time? So with the information that we're providing, plus being with a mentor, I think we can help you through that process of evaluation and being very frank and honest with yourself. Can we make this go? So let's think on a positive level. It's a go. Well, at that point, we're up to the business plan. This is absolutely critical. And you can do this with your mentor. And I will share my experience is that when I got to my mentors, I was recommended to score by my banker. Got the picture? And because of it, he wanted a business plan. We couldn't go forward with funding at his bank unless we had a business plan. He said, David, you need to go to SCORE and they'll help you. And they did. They did. Part of it was terrifying in the fact that when we started talking about the business plan, they gave me an outline. That's great. It was 28 pages long. I was a little overwhelmed. And so what they were able to help me do is to pull all this down into small steps, one by one by one, so that I could come up with my business plan. And it was extremely helpful. Quite frankly, I couldn't have done it without them. I really, really couldn't. So I share that with you in the goal that today we're starting a process to help you make that decision, whether to go or not go. And if it's a go, how we can help you do a business plan to move you forward. Next slide, please. So we need to make a commitment to you as SCORE in the fact that it's absolutely critical that you understand something. One word: confidential. Everything we talk about is confidential between you and your mentor. And I think that's very important so that you can have a sense of trust to be able to share information with them, knowing that it's not going to go any further. So we tell you up front, it needs to be confidential. But SCORE is a huge organization all over the country. So they have a lot of resources that they pull together so that the information that we provide and the learning processes and webinars that we have are really, really quite good, providing you mentor services going forward to help you make those decisions, those really hard decisions that you have to make being in a business of your own. And then one of the nice things is this is a real bonus from your time here. We're going to provide you these slides so that you don't have to frantically sit there and take notes. So you know that that's coming, and also it's being recorded as well. So this will give you an opportunity to, at a later date, you can go back through and take a look at what we reviewed and see how that could be of help to you. So I hope by offering that might be a special help to you going forward. Next slide. So That's our commitment to you. Maybe you need to make a commitment the other way. I mean, that's the way it goes, right? In any kind of partnership. Um, this is what we'd like to see. Um, this is what my mentors wanted to see in me, is to attend the workshops, of which I did all those years ago. Sometimes there's homework, but homework is there to help you think through certain things, give you an opportunity to do more study. And I think, and I hope you can relate to this, that in developing this company that we had, it was all consuming. And it was so hard to sort of step back from that and look at the broader view of what needs to be done, not only today, but in the future. I get so bogged down in working in the business. I wasn't working enough on the business. So I hope that you would take the offer of signing up for the mentoring, which is free, one-on-one, to go forward, so that you can determine if your business really is one that you can move forward to. So the whole key is we're going to make a commitment to you. We ask for you to make a commitment to us, and between the two of us, we'll be able to help you go down the road just a little bit further. Next slide, please. So take just a moment in your chat and put your name again and the business idea. But briefly, what's your vision statement? I mean, you've heard people talk about that vision statement, vision statement. But what is it? The key on a vision statement, as I will suggest to you, it is a clear picture of the goal, of what you're trying to accomplish. It needs to be as clear as a picture, so that at any given point in time, you can evaluate, this is the goal, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Am I going to get there? But it needs to be very, very concise. Clear and concise is really the critical key. Take just a moment, if you will, and write, what would you consider your vision statement? It should be a short, very short paragraph, in order that you can remember what your vision statement is. Let's just give you a moment to kind of think that through. A lot of times with companies, they talk about their vision statements, and they're also talking about their vision, mission, and values, those three levels. And it helps significantly to organize your thoughts about building your business going forward. Just as we've talked about, the vision is what you're trying to accomplish. It is your goal. It's defining who you are in the future. In the future, who you are is your vision for what you're trying to accomplish. The mission statement, that it's tied in there, it's what you do to get there. What are you doing today to accomplish your goal going forward? And then finally, what motivates you, in the sense of why are you doing what you're doing? That has to do with your values, honesty, thinking in terms of your perseverance, your dedication. See what I'm saying? It is the values that motivate you going forward. I had some students at McCall School of Business in the MBA program, and we were talking about companies having vision, mission, and value statement. And they weren't really sure about what all that meant. But I also found out these students were also on the track team over at Queen's University. And I said, take me to the track. When you're on the track, What's your goal? And then describe your goal. And they describe perfectly what it's like to go over the finish line. That's the goal. That's the vision. How do you look? How do you sound? How do you feel? Then the next question is, what do you have to do in order to get there? That's what's going around the track. What are you doing specifically? How are you preparing to reach that goal? And then finally, the values that you have, your dedication to the sport is your motivation. So just thinking in terms of the track, they understood exactly what it means. Vision, mission, and values statement. You see this in companies all the time. The interesting thing about that is sometimes it can be such a helpful tool in the fact that for our company, I mentioned that we purchased one. We had to make it our own. Yes, it had been in business for 5 years, but how are we going to make it our own? And so, therefore, we needed a vision, mission, and value statement for our company. But the way I did that is rather than I dictating something to them, I got representatives from all the different departments. We came together over a period of a couple of weeks and we wrote it together. And the key here is that this is the one thing that every single employee needs to have and hold true. This is who we are. This is what I can do in order for the company to reach the goal. We actually came out with some little business cards that had our vision, mission, and value statement on it, so they could have it in their wallet. It it was is a real motivating factor because everybody knew what we were trying to accomplish in the business. That was, and everybody was motivated because they had a part in deciding that. That's why I share it with you. Now, a little downside here. I was working with a client in the steel industry. I was called in to consult with them on how they can make some changes in their company. I had the whole board of directors in the room, and there was David answering all of these questions. And then the chairman of the board asked, David, what questions do you have? And I went, I've got one. I said, what is your vision, mission, and value statement? It was quiet in the room. And then finally, the chairman said, well, the HR department or the marketing department or the web people put that on the website. Well, great. Your customers need to know that. But what about you? They didn't know it. Oh, this is the most amazing thing. It was stated in a frame right outside the door of the conference room because they wanted to show it to their customers that were coming there on site about to explain who they are and what they do. And they didn't know it. Miss opportunity completely. So, well, you'll be glad to know I was hired for 3 years. So they found some value in that. But I share these examples with you from the point of view of this is something that you should really consider for your business, not only for yourself, but for everybody that is working in it, for all of your customers that are interested in doing business with you. And then a little bit later, we're talking about how to market the company going forward. These are the things that need to come out in the marketing: vision, mission, and values. So I hope that you will keep that in mind. Going back to our slide here, we asked you about the vision statement. Kiana, did we have any chats that came in that might be a good example of their vision statement? Did we get one in on the chat? No?
Yeah, we have a few. Sorry about that. I hit the
Yeah.
wrong button. So yeah, we have a few in the chat. Let me go up a little bit. So vision statements. Maria Garcia is the owner of Maria's Money and Mindset Coaching. The vision statement is to put more money in the hands of people who want to do good with it.
Wow.
Jared Klotz, creating symbiotic relationships between humans and technology through innovative solutions that enhance human potential while maintaining our essential humanity. Um, Miss Elaine F., a small catering business with the goal of providing amazing small bites for small to medium-sized gatherings, equipment setup and tear down included. Um, we have a Mr. Alan Wilkeson. The vision is to present my event to over 100 locations around the world. And we have quite a few more. Last one, uh, Craig Boston, private chef, the Burning Sand Six, caters to the social Greek organizations known as Nine Divine,
Okay.
Masonic, and veterans. The history goes back as far as the early 20th century. We specialize in casual meals.
That's awesome. Y'all making me hungry. Okay. But the point is this. This is really, I'm so impressed with what you've pulled out here. It's short, to the point, but it's something that you can remember and something that is easy for you to share with other people so that they'll know. I mean, how's a customer supposed to decide to do business with you if they don't know where you're going in the future? I had a particular situation. Things were not going very well, and I talked to a business owner out in California. I said, Bobby, what the hell should I do? He said, well, David, let me just ask you one question. He asked, what kind of boat do you want to have? Well, I'm a sailor. I mean, I was so happy for the guy. But here's the key. I was calling him to discuss, I couldn't make payroll next week. And he's talking about what sailboat I'd like to have. You see what he's doing? He said, think in terms of the future. Think in terms that you've worked through everything. What are you working toward? And he actually sent me a picture of a boat. He said, David, put it on the refrigerator so that you can see it every day that you go to the refrigerator. You need to be on that boat. I'm happy to say 3 years later, I was on that boat. But I was very impressed with the way he handled that. He said, David, you need to see beyond today what the future holds so that you know if you're going in the right direction or not. So thank you for listening to the stories. Let's go to the next slide, please. So I think have we already gotten this one? Yeah, yeah, deliverables. Okay, so there's two things that we're really going to focus on is go or no go decision on your behalf. Maybe you've already made that decision, but if you haven't, we need to come to a point where you can be committed to what you're going to do. And then based on that, what branding and marketing can we put in the business plan in order to move yourself forward? Because your bankers, your investors, your financial people, they want to see what your plans are. Let's go to the next slide. So, what are the keys to branding? Um, Branding to me is this is my simple uh, thought about branding. It's the first impression that people have when they see your logo, when they see you, when they see your services, your product. What's the first thing that they can think of? That's your brand. That is what you are known for. Is your brand. Um, it helps you in the fact that by knowing what your brand is, what is your dream, why is it that you're doing this? That's the critical key. In order to identify the dream and make it go forward, again, I'm just going to say it's got to be the business plan. Research to pull together a business plan is really critical. I mean, it's the more that you know, the better off you're going to be. There's a lot of industry profile data that you can get from the government and other locations to help you with that. So there's a lot of consumer data and competitive data. You gotta know your customer, but you also need to know your competition between you and your customer. And then what kind of image are you going to have for your brand? What is the first impression? I think that's an easy one to keep that in mind when it comes to branding. So next slide, please. You know, other people have had dreams too. Some of these folks, they all started with a dream. I mean, some of these guys were working in their garage to get started. Um, I was looking at the one of Walt Disney. Um, it is astonishing what happened with Walt Disney and all the productions he has. The fact that he made Disneyland. I mean, you know, when I took my kids there, it was like heaven on earth for them. Um, but how did he get started? Where was the dream? And the thing that's amazing about Walt Disney, it all started with a cartoon, Mickey Mouse. That cartoon that he had went worldwide. And that's the one thing that started him in this whole process. It is Mickey Mouse that created everything, that started everything. So I guess in a sense, what is your Mickey Mouse? What's going to get you down the road? But all of these people had dreams. But the key was that they had to get other people to buy into the dream in order to make it happen. You know, Walt Disney can't just draw Mickey Mouse all by himself. I mean, he's had huge numbers of staff and a lot of technology to move that whole process forward. So it may be your dream, but we got to figure out ways to share it with other people so that you can get them involved. Next slide, please. So defining the market need, this is absolutely critical. Thinking in terms of what is the problem? How do you plan to solve it? That's what it's all about. People buy solutions to their problems. So the more that we identify what that problem is with clarity, then we can come up with a plan to solve it, a way to make it different. Our products and services with the features and benefits they have, how is that going to address their issue? That's the key. And when we can do that better than the competition, that's our competitive advantage. All the customer is interested in is a solution. Is your solution the best for what they have to do? So the key here is to go with the market plan that you have, and that will make the most of your business idea, getting it across to others. Next slide, please. So what's your personal situation? I mean, do you have any experience for what you're trying to do? Now, I've got to just share with you the fact that when a family bought the telephone company, yes, they made me president. They had faith in me that I could move that forward. They had seen me run a $28 million operation in a retail store in Birmingham, Alabama, rather successfully, I might add. Thank you very much. But that wasn't the phone company. That was somebody else's retail store. I was the manager. I was the merchandiser for that store. So that if I needed help in my store, I had all kinds of people to talk to in shipping and receiving, in marketing and personnel. They were all, it's a big corporation. It was, but what if it's your company? Who are you going to call? You don't have anybody to call. It's up to you. Because if you've never owned a business before, it's something that you have to Take a deep breath. It's not easy. Oh, it can be done. And we're here to help you accomplish that. I'm just saying that if you've never owned a business before, do you have the experience in what you're trying to do going forward? Do your skills that you have, does that fit into this particular situation? Is it going to work? And personal risk tolerance. Oh my goodness. It's stressful. It is stressful. I mean, I don't mean to down the whole process. I'm just trying to be realistic with you in the fact that it is hard. Is it rewarding? Oh, you betcha. I mean, it's just incredible. But there's a lot of dark days to work through. And that's where your personal risk tolerance can make a big difference going forward. So all I'm saying is that as at this stage in life here, can what we do fit into what we're asking ourselves to do with a business of your own? Next slide. So these are the four things that we need to sort of summarize. Knowing about the industry, knowing as much about the industry that you're in as you possibly can. Who is your targeted customer? Why would that customer buy from you? Where's the connection between the two? And competitors. Now, I have to mention one other thing. A lot of times we just love to bash our competitors as how awful they are. And that's why we're going to be so good. I ask you to look at it a little differently. Sit down with your folks and talk about what is good about your competitor. What is it that they do well? What is it that they do better than anybody else? What is it? Because we need to be able to understand the competition where they're weak, but we also better know what their strengths are to see what we can learn from that. And then through our research, looking at the market that we're in, how's it trending? What can we see going forward? Is there a real possibility going forward for success? So those are the four things that I'd like for you to just keep in mind as we go forward. Next slide, please. So I'm going back to research once again, because the more you know before you go in or before you expand, the more successful you're going to be. And I'm just going to touch on the first one about the librarian. The libraries in Charlotte have worked very closely with us for years and years and years. And they can really help you significantly to identify and find the right references for what you're trying to know. The library is full of tools, but in my case, it was nice to have a librarian to show me where to go and how to do it. And they're willing to help. In Charlotte, we've had a very, very close relationship with all the libraries and the librarians here. And I would encourage you to consider the library as getting as much information behind you as you possibly can, because there's a lot of data out there about the market, competition, etc. And going through the website, you can gain a lot of information there. It may be in their favor, making them look good, but it's worth taking a look at. So my thought is that as you go forward in this journey, I'm encouraging to know as much about what is ahead of you as possible. Next slide, please. So when you're defining the business potential, there's all kinds of information that's coming out. This is a long list of several, and again, the librarian can help you work through this. But the North American Industry Classification System, they have codes that can help classify your competition and also to give you a better idea of the marketplace, what is going on. And so I would encourage you to work with your librarian. Uh, One thing that came up is the U.S. Census provides an enormous amount of information when that comes out on the economy and market trends. We just need to be aware of what we're facing. Is it favorable or is it not favorable? And that's really important for us to know before we get into it. So I would encourage you to understand the industry that you're in as much as what's going on in the marketplace. Next slide, please. So we need to define who is your customer? Where are they? What type of customer are they going to consume what you have, or are they like a retailer that they purchase from you and then they resell it? I call that business to business, and the consumer is business to consumer. Um, what type of a customer do you have there? Because it determines what kind of marketing you do in order to reach those customers. Where are they located? And boy, this was critical to us in the fact that when we sent out a technician in a truck to take care of a phone system, we can't have them driving hours and hours and hours to get to the customer. So we had to really focus and specialize in a small area and make the most of that particular market, only because that's the only way we could be profitable. Looking at the numbers of customers that are out there or potential customers, and this is good to know. What kind of income level do they have? How successful are they? Bottom line is that your bookkeeper wants to know, do they have the ability to pay? And that's quite important to know. So the demographics will certainly show that to you as you go through your research. What's the lifestyle of the customers that you have, and what habits do they have? I mean, when did they typically spend? I mean, when you think in terms of, is the first quarter, second quarter, or is everything all into the fourth quarter? I mean, in retail, as you probably realize, it was all about the fourth quarter, and that made all the difference in the entire year. But we knew that going in. I mean, when I planned for the Christmas business, I was doing that a year in advance in order to make sure that we had everything lined up that we needed right for the fourth quarter. So, but because of the history that we have, the information that we have, that worked out fine. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the channel that you're using to reach your customer. Is it business to business where you sell it to them and then they're going to resell it to somebody else? Or is it going to be to the consumer that they're actually going to use it themselves? There's different ways of marketing to them that would be different. We need to be identifying that before we get started in our marketing plan. Next program. So just to summarize, we got to know our market. We're only going to know that by research, that's for sure. What the demographics and what are the habits and patterns of the customers that are there. It's interesting when you talk to people in different businesses. I always like to know when's your busy season, or do you have a busy season? Maybe they don't have a busy season, but it's interesting. My son and the work that he does, uh, the fourth quarter is just insane how busy they are. But see, what's happening in his situation is that companies have allocated funds for that year, and then they got to spend it before the end of the year. And they put it off, and then they hit fourth quarter, and it is just pandemonium. But they know that in advance, and they work with their customers to encourage them to spread out the work a little bit more so they're not all slammed at the very end. So how do we find out about customers? Internet. I mean, what more can one say? It'll tell you an awful lot in doing the research. The census data that we get from the government and their websites could be very helpful. I would encourage you to think in terms of what trade associations that you have, because they would hold an enormous amount of information about the market because there's so many companies that are in the association, so you can get a kind of a good idea of what the market is. Civic and community organizations are critical. If you spend all your time in the business, you're going to miss opportunities. It's important for you to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, any trade association. You need to be there. In my situation with the phone company, I was in the Chamber of Commerce, and I took them up on all kinds of programs that they had where I could be around. We had an entrepreneur, what we call entrepreneur roundtable, about 25 key executives, and just to talk, to hear what's going on. I got a really good understanding of what they're going through, and it also determined what can I do to help them. So I encourage you, get out of the office once in a while, but participate in these organizations because they could be very helpful. And then the library reference sessions are very, very important going forward. Next slide, please. So this will just give you a graph from the census government that came out recently, where it can show you the number of households by zip code. So this could be very helpful to determine, is this the type of market that you're going to be working on? But also what the income is. I mean, are these people in a position where they have free extra income where they can buy your product or service going forward? So I'm just saying that the Census Bureau can be very helpful to you in getting information if you're working on getting in touch with the end user, the customer. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a summary of about what we've talked about, targeting the market to fulfill the customer's needs. Again, we just need to remember, is there a problem and how we're going to solve it? How can we run our business profitably, considering the cost and the price? And we'll talk about price a little bit more in a minute, but we've got to have a good relationship between the two to make sure that we are profitable. And based on that, how can we take the sales we have and grow them for future trends going forward? Is the environment that we're in, is it favorable? See, I had a real challenge with the phone company because everybody said, well, we go with AT&T, we go with Bell South. Why go with this little bitty company? And so I had to find out that it was not a very favorable environment, primarily because AT&T and Bell South were located in the city. However, by knowing that, we worked very hard to show the significance of what we could bring to the customer, things that the big boys, if you will, could not do. And it was a long process. I can't tell you it would happen overnight. It was a long process, but it happened. And it was very meaningful to our customers. And I'm glad to say my family was greatly relieved that they made me president. Whew, that was great. So when you think in terms of going forward, does the vision that you're trying to accomplish, does it fit with the skills you have? And I'm just saying, now's the time that we need to have those discussions, so that if we have the skills, great. If we don't, what are we going to do about it? We just need to make an assessment of where we're strength and weakness within ourselves, so that we'll know how to lead our company going forward. Next slide, please. Great. So the competitor data that we really need to get a handle on is to understand their offering as to why their product or service, why is it priced the way it is? Why is it that they are able to do it at that price? What are the features that they have that we may not have? Or what features do we have that they may not have? Now, this is hysterical. I went to a, a seminar, and our manufacturer was there to talk about some of the new features that we had with our phone system. What they didn't realize is that in the same complex, AT&T was having a meeting just down the hall. And I was really taken back when I went to go into my meeting. They had armed guards at the door. So that shows you how important that we need to keep our features private so that we can be competitive. We don't need to let that out. We need to understand why our competition is successful in their annual sales. How big are they? How profitable are they? What kind of marketing strategy do they have? I mean, we don't have to totally reinvent the wheel, but we need to know what they're doing to see how we can compete against it. But there's a lot of, once again, about our competitors. There's a lot of data resources that we can look at. Their website is it's it's biased to their opinion, okay? But nonetheless, you need to be very familiar with their website to find out how they're marketing what they do. You can sometimes find out from the suppliers that they have that you may share with them. What kind of get the back stories going forward? Again, the trade associations is really important. That can give you information. And Dun and Bradstreet comes up with all sorts of rankings with companies that you certainly want to be a high ranking with Dun and Bradstreet. So that's another place. So there's a lot of different places that you can go to gain information that I just wanted to share with you. Next slide, please. So compared the competition for features and benefits, their pricing, the size of their sales, their marketing strategy, and their business model. These are all things that we need to know going forward because that's what we're up against. Now, let me put it to you this way. I've watched a lot of football the last couple of weeks. I'm sure a lot of us have. Do you do you to me, it's amazing that when a team gets on the field, how much they know about the competition. They know everything about the guy right in front of them that they're about to block or to try to go around. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, they know, in many cases, they know their plans going forward. They they can look at the film on what they did before, last week, last month. My point being is that with these football teams, they're prepared. They can determine what they're going to do in order to be successful. And I'm here to tell you, when they start playing, you can tell who had the better plan and pretty quick. So keep in mind, you're the captain of your football team. We need to know the folks that we're up against as clearly as possible. Next slide, please. So these are just other questions that we've summarized here. So when you have a chance to take a look at the slide and you're going through the process, answer these questions. I mean, take one at a time to identify and to talk among yourselves as to what this information could tell you going forward, because your brand is a promise of a solution. How successful can we be with that solution? Answering these kinds of questions would be very helpful. Next slide. Do we have a next slide? Oh, okay. Oh, I mentioned earlier about what a brand is. This is not a very technical uh, thought, but I always say that the brand is the first impression that a customer gets when they see, for example, McDonald's. What's the first thing you think of? See, I ask my grandkids, "What do you want?" "We want McDonald's. We want McDonald's." "Well, what is it about McDonald's that you like?" "They have toys." That's their targeted customer. I'm here to tell you, it's McDonald's or nothing. I mean, it's just, however, I asked the same question in a seminar that I was giving to a bunch of adults. And I asked them, "What's your first impression of McDonald's?" And the guy in the back raised his hand. And he said, "Heartburn." Heartburn. That's what I think of McDonald's. Well, that's his impression of McDonald's. Um, but but what is it about your company? Are they going to think that it's a toy, something wow, something special? Or are they going to think about heartburn for the last experience they had? All I'm saying is that when you look at these other companies, think in terms of their first impression, and then think in terms of your company. What is the first impression you want your customer to have? Next slide, please. So this is a summary of what we've just gone over, but I wanted to say that these are things that I would like you to answer on your own. And we're going to move on to the marketing strategy going forward. So let's go to the next slide, please. So the key steps that we have in marketing is, well, marketing to me is how you get people to your front door. How do you get your people, your customers coming to you? That's marketing. Sales is once they're there, you make the money, you get them to pay. So marketing is really, really important. Of what is your message? I guess that's the best way we can say, because I've said before, what the customer is interested in is to be able to solve the problem. So with that being said, how are we going to get across? How are we going to attract them to us? What's going to differentiate us from our competition? In our products or services? Is it in our pricing strategy? Is it the markets that we're in? What is the message that we want to get out to reach those customers and to make those sales and to get them to grow? That's the key to marketing going forward. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of a summary for things that we need to keep in mind about our products and services. That's what we have to market. What are the benefits that are special? What is unique about what we offer that the other guys don't? Do we have some limitations that we have to work around, or do they have some limitations that they have to work around? On the production and the delivery, can we supply what they need when they need it? Because that's what's important to the customer, to get that solution when they need it. Who's going to be the suppliers? Boy, this is a big one for small businesses. Who's going to help supply the products that you have to sell? Do they have the permits in order to make it happen? These are all critical things about the products or services that we provide that we need to make sure that we are being able to do all that we can do. The next slide, please. So I wanted to mention something about pricing, because this can be tricky. When you think in terms of pricing your product or service, yes, you have to be aware of the cost of the material and service. That may take some research, and the fact that you got to really know what it's really costing you, period. Then based on that, what is the percentage of profit that you have determined that we need to have in order to keep the lights on, to keep things working? What is that percentage? Based on that, how does that price that we've determined match our competition? Are we in the ballpark? Are we not in the ballpark? Are we too high? Are we too low? We need to go through when we're doing the initial price and be able to determine just what is that going forward. When we adjust the price, we need to monitor what the customer demand is. Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? How does it compare to the competition? Does it ensure value to the customer? I mean, if we cut costs too much and the quality of the product is not there, it's not going to be of value to the customer. The note here is that before we increase some prices to get our markup being what it is, we need to take a look at how we can reduce costs rather than just increase prices. Because if we go up too much, then we're not going to be competitive in the marketplace. And everybody, especially now, everybody is so sensitive to the price. So that's something that we need to take a look at. Now, if the price is too low, that really disrupts the market. You may have a price war. Well, we're going to undercut them, then they're going to turn around and cut theirs down. So we keep going in a downward spiral. The problem is a new business suffers the most when they try to have a price war between the two competitions. So pricing is a very difficult thing, but we need to take a look at the process all the way through to make sure that we got the right price for our customer going forward, so that when we market, they'll be attracted to the cost that we're providing going forward. Next slide, please. So this is just an overview of some of the things that we need to keep in mind when it comes to our pricing. When you think in terms of are there extra premiums that we can add that adds value to our product going forward? Things that we did in the phone company, like we provided a longer service contract for particular items, longer guarantees, warranties, etc. But the key here is that we need to understand that the pricing has to be right for ourselves and for our customer to be successful going forward. Next slide, please. So marketing. Oh, well, we'll run TV ads. Well, it's not that simple in the fact that they're so expensive. But I mean, we have the world in front of us as far as advertising is concerned. Social media seems to be a real dominant one now that could be very helpful. Radio and TV, that all gets to be expensive. Magazines now, I'm not altogether sure that they're all that effective. People just don't seem to take the time to go through magazines. But direct mail, if you can afford the postage, could be a way to target your message to a specific person. Public relations, print, radio, TV. One thing I'll mention about my phone company, one of the things we did that was very helpful is through the Chamber of Commerce. They had a monthly magazine about the city. Beautifully done. And it was very popular. And in talking to the editor, we worked out a deal where we could provide services to their company and to the chamber in lieu of the cost of a full page ad. So my company, our little company, had a full page ad every single month in that magazine, which went out to all the business owners in the city, and it also went into the reception rooms. They would put the copy of the magazine out there for their customers to read. It was wildly successful, and the way that we had it structured, it didn't cost me anything other than some time and some parts. So be creative as you can be. I think most people, entrepreneurs that I talk to now, are using the internet in order to get their message out, and especially when you think in terms of if you have special offers or ways in which you can promote your product. Doing that on the internet is very quick, very easy, and able to turn that around pretty quickly. Signage, it was huge when we bought our building. Our logo went up all over the side because we wanted to have a presence within the marketplace. And if we had time, we would talk about logos, but we'll save that for another day. But that's a critical key. Next slide, please. So the message, all I'm going to say about this slide, it needs to be clear. It needs to be concise. Just keep the 2 C's in mind when you're getting your message out for marketing, because that will help provide more power than anything else you can do. Clear and concise communications. Next slide, please. So this will be a kind of an overview to keep in mind that when you think in terms of your choice, what kind of costs are involved? Is it a one-time cost, or are we going to spread it out over a period of time? Is the marketing that's being done, is that going to take up a lot of time of your staff? All these things have to be considered to make sure that we're doing the right marketing going forward. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of an overview, and I'll leave this slide in for you. When you get to the business plan, what I would recommend is to go over these 6 points and making sure that that's a part of your plan that you're going over with your mentor, step by step by step. Again, it's the process that will help you significantly going forward. And one of the things that is critical is that we go over each of these in detail. So I'll leave that out as an overview for you to take forward. Next slide, please. Okay. So I think I said this before, marketing gets the customers to the door. It's the sales that bring in the money. So we need to be able to make sure that the marketing is not costing too much, that our sales can't pay for the marketing. So we have to get a balance between the two. And I think the best way to accomplish that is to go through the research that we've been talking about and pull together some information going forward that you can feel comfortable with going forward. Next slide, please. Okay. I thought this was an interesting line about the wow experience. What kind of experience do your customers have? I mean, would you say it's a wow experience? The reason I ask that is this. In order to attract a new customer, it costs you 5 times what it takes to be able to maintain one that you already have. It's very costly in the marketing, etc., to be able to attract a new customer. So I guess what I'm saying is that going back over with the customers that you have, and hopefully the customers that are coming in, what kind of experience that we are giving them that they would say, wow, I think that's a great term, something to keep in mind going forward. Next slide, please. So this is a review. These are all the things that we've gone over today. And there again, I think it could be very helpful to you when you work with your mentor to make sure that we have this in our business plan going forward. Next slide, please. this I want you to have some time with. Um, when you get the deck after this, I would appreciate sometime this week for you to go through and give yourself a grade. This is where you get to be the teacher. But honestly, sit down and look at these 5 areas and look at these 10 questions and give yourself a grade from 0 to 10. Now, if you give yourself all tens, it's a waste of money and it's a waste of paper. I'm asking you to be honest with yourself from the point of view, if you give yourself a 5, great. But what can you do to get better? See, unless we go through an assessment, we don't really know. And quite frankly, you can't ask other people. This has to come from you about your leadership in your company going forward. And I really encourage you to do this self assessment because I think it could be really helpful to share that with other people, such as your mentors, as we go forward. Next slide, please. So at this point, Kiana, I think I'm going to turn this over to you for a closing.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much for that. So, yes, thank you all for being a part of tonight's session. And I just want to kind of clarify a few little things. So, I know that the session that you all signed up for indicated that it was going to be a 2 hour, two-part series, which it is the branding concept and marketing. So, I'm not sure where the breakdown and miscommunication occurred, but I do sincerely apologize about that. But tonight was about branding concept and marketing. And so moving forward, we'll make sure that it is clearly communicated exactly what you are signing up for in the time length to really meet your expectations, and that's communicated with you all. Um, but once again, we want to thank David for sharing the business concept and marketing, branding concept and marketing session with us tonight. So this QR code, if you're on a computer screen and you're able to scan now, if not, that's okay. Just remember you are going to get a copy of the webinar, a copy of the slide deck as well as the recording, and this is going to take you to a resource toolkit for starting your business. And so just some more information, more resources that is readily available for you all as you are on this entrepreneurship journey, turning these dreams into reality. So this QR code will take you to this hyperlink here, and you will be able to download the workbook. Yep. All right. Scan the QR code to get a score mentor. I did put instructions in the chat. Essentially, this takes you to our website, which is www.score.org. And you are able to select a mentor from the Find Your Mentor tab. Putting in your zip code, it will connect you with the chapter that is closest to your zip code. And from there, you'll be able to submit an inquiry and have someone reach out to you from a SCORE chapter closest to you, so that way you can set up a time to meet with a SCORE mentor. Once again, you will get this in your slide deck when it's sent out to all of you participants. All right. And so, as we are headed and closing out this session, we are wanting to just put some information out there about SCORE funding. We are, as we continue our mission to help small businesses start, grow, and thrive, we want to share an important update. Donations to support our mission to small business owners nationwide will be accepted on our website. And so, what this is SCORE is a nonprofit organization. All of us as mentors, we are all volunteers with the SCORE organization. And we know that donations right now in this season for us is really imperative so that we can keep our webinars free. I will share a hyperlink in the chat with you all that you all can use if you want to do a small donation to ensure that the next set of entrepreneurs are able to at least receive some of our webinars free. We thank you for your attention and your support of SCORE. And like I said, we want to continue to be able to allow the webinars to be free for all of our entrepreneurs in the small business community. So here is the hyperlink. I'm going to go ahead, oops, sorry, and drop this in the chat for you all. So if you would like to donate, I'm going to drop this in the chat and stop sharing my screen. And while I'm putting this in the chat, anyone have any? Oh, I see it. I see a lot of thank yous, David. Looks like they enjoyed your session. Thank you. Very helpful. Thank you. Thanks, David. Lots of words of wisdom. Thank you for this was very helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, very informative. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Like I said, there is a link for our PayPal if you are feeling led to just support us with a small donation. Other than that, you all will receive a copy of the slide deck and the recording to your emails for being registered, the registered email, excuse me. You will receive a copy. So Kevin, there's not a link. It'll be automatically sent to your email that you registered for the webinar with. And then other than that, I have no other parting words. I thank you all for joining us tonight. David, you want to parting words? Any parting words?
All I can say is thank you for your time, because time's hard to come by. I think the key that I suggest with you is to make the most of your time that you're working on the business as you're in the business, because it can make a huge difference going forward. All I can say is that that's what happened for me, and I just share it with you as an example. So thank you so much for attending, and I hope our paths will cross again in the future. Take care.
All right, everyone, have a good evening. Thank you.